Hi, Randy Alvarez here. You're watching the Randy Alvarez podcast. We're talking about implant dentistry, and this is a behind-the-scenes look of what you need to know if you're considering this procedure. You know, the Wellness Hour, I interviewed my first implant dentist about 26 years ago. A lot has changed. Well, with us, and I'm glad we're doing our first one here with one of the pioneers. He's not only an educator, he's an innovator of implant dentistry, and he teaches dentists from all over the country, all over the world with us, and we've had him on the show before, Dr. Art Mirelez.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me back, Randy. It's an honor. It's an honor to be back. And, you know, a lot of my patients will come in and they'll say, I saw you on TV. And
Is that right?
That guy, Randy, he really asked you some tough questions, and I really like how you answered them. And, you know, I think what you're doing is very informative.
Thanks.
And it's very helpful. So thank you.
Yeah, good, good. And people need to know. I mean, these are real interviews. It's your truth as you see it. But I wanted to talk today, like if somebody's seriously considering this procedure, what they need to know. And there's a lot of things that are going on. And look, we also have an advertising agency.
Sure.
So I know some of the things that are going on, and I can imagine it's probably very frustrating to you. Let's start with the price. Because we're seeing things like $295 an implant. As you've explained to me, they're quoting just the cost of that little tiny implant screw. Or we're seeing to get a full arch of teeth for like $14,995 or even $12,995. And you're telling me that that's just like a temporary set of teeth.
Yes.
And then it's, so
the
tell me
biggest-
what's going on there. What do
Well,
people need to know?
You know, I drive. My daughter goes to school in Cal State Fullerton, and I see some of these billboards that claim to be doing a full arch of teeth for $10,000 or $12,000. And this is, when we say a full arch, it's permanent teeth that are resting on implants.
Okay.
And I look at that and I kind of chuckle because I don't quite understand how they're able to pull that off, knowing the cost that it takes for my practice to do that.
But you must know what they're doing.
Well, of course I know
What
they're
are they doing?
So what happens is they get you through the door, right? And then there's a lot of add-on fees.
Like?
Well, if you want to be sedated, which I would suggest you be sedated,
Okay.
there's going to be an additional charge for that. If you have X amount of teeth, they're going to charge you X amount of dollars per tooth that needs to come out.
Oh,
If you're
really?
lacking bone, then there's going to be some bone grafting procedures. If you're lacking gum tissue in certain areas, right, thick gum tissue, there's going to be an additional cost for that. If you want a zirconia restoration, which is the best of the best in terms of the material that's very durable, there's going to be an additional fee for that. So a lot of it is just bait and switch, which honestly is very misleading.
Do you think the consultants to the dentist or the advertising agents for the dentist are talking the dentist into doing this as a method to have a loss leader to bring them in and upsell them when they get there?
Well, I know
I wanna
that's
know your
true.
thoughts.
I know that's true because they've
Okay.
told me to do that, and quite honestly, I think it's unethical.
So you just do like one fee based on the
I do a
patient's
total fee,
situation.
a total fee that's very customized
Okay.
to the patient, their needs. They know the cost up front. There's no additional cost along the way. In fact, you know what I do, Randy? I say, I'm even going to give you my cell phone number that you can call me 24/7.
Really?
You can text me 24/7 because I want to take great care of you. And I also joke and I say, hey, I'm married to a very understanding wife, so if you call me at 3 in the morning, she knows that it's very likely just going to be a patient.
Okay, okay. So and look, okay, so there's a lot of these misleading prices,
Yes.
like bait and switch. But when it's all said and done, with your one fee, you're about the same or less than just about everybody anyway.
Actually,
true?
I think that we're very fairly priced because we do everything under one roof. What does that mean? Typically, patients will go to a surgeon to have the teeth removed and the implant placed, and then they're going to a restorative dentist to have the teeth made. So those are two different locations, two different dentists with two different overhead costs.
Okay.
Okay. In my practice, we do everything under
Right
one
there.
roof, and I'm in complete control of the surgery and designing the teeth. And I take it to the next level. We have an in-house lab that allows us to generate and make the teeth so we can maintain that quality of care.
Now, you teach dentists everything we're talking about today.
Yes, sir.
Where are they traveling from to see you?
You know, I'm blessed, Randy. I have had dentists as far as Australia, Ireland, and the UK. But the most of our doctors that come and learn how to do these procedures are from the United States. And they come to my practice right here in Clovis, California, where we have a teaching center. And they watch me perform surgery. They watch us how we make the teeth, how we design the teeth, and they watch us deliver the teeth. So we're showing them the entire process from start to finish in literally 2 days to show them proof of concept. And then we continue to provide training for them so that they can deliver this level of care in their respective communities.
Does it cost more to go to a guy that has all this?
It probably should, but it doesn't.
Okay.
And part of the reason that it doesn't cost more, it's funny you say that. I had a dentist that we were teaching, and he's walking around in my practice. He's like, wow, this practice is amazing. You have all this technology. You know, your team is amazing. They're expert type of people. Your fees must be outrageous. And I said, no, they're actually not. He's like, well, why aren't they? You've invested a lot of time and effort. I said, because it takes me less time, less appointments to get to the finish line, right? With the way that we do things, we can get to the finish line as little as 3 or 4 appointments, where most dentists, it takes them 10, 15, 20 appointments to get to the finish line. Of course, it's going to cost more. So for me, it's
and who wants to go through that?
Who wants to go through that? But for me, it's really based on my time, right? How much time it takes. So at the end of the day, no, my fees are not higher.
You know, that's a good one to know, because look, I have doctors coming on my show, and I only get to hear, and whether it's a medical doctor or implant dentist, just when everything goes right, right? And we don't get to hear about the 20 appointments.
It happens.
But so when you're inexperienced, you got to have them come back and forth, come in more.
There's
Is that
no
right?
doubt in my mind. Any dentist that's watching this show right now, I guarantee you, that has made these permanent set of teeth has spent 15 to 30 appointments to finish. And the one thing that they want is they just want to get the case done. And with our technology, with the innovation that we've created, we get to the finish line predictably, very consistently, in 3, 4, 5 appointments.
Help me know what we're talking about when you say finish line, meaning getting those upper and lower teeth that don't come out.
So the way we do it in our practice is the first visit, you come in for a consultation. And it's really our time to get to know who you are, what it is that you're wanting. Second appointment, once you decide, hey, I want to move forward with this, is we take a set of records. We scan your face, we scan your teeth, and we design the perfect smile. The best part about that technology is that you get to see your smile before we actually move forward.
That's not common, I found out.
No, not at all.
You don't know what it's going to look like at the end.
No, it's...
I have doctors that tell me, but well, you know, and the technology's out there, it's not accurate, it doesn't work. But I know if I want to get teeth, I'm just speaking for myself, I'd want to see. So they must like that they get to see what it's going to look like ahead of time.
They love it. You know, with this InstaRisa protocol, what we are able to do is, for the first time in dentistry, we're able to show the patient what they're going to look like and guarantee them, Randy. I look my patient square in the eye and I say, I promise you, Randy, it's going to look just like this. There's not very many ways, there's not many dentists, period. We've only trained about 350 dentists in this country of how to do this process.
Are they surprised with how they're going to look? Like, are they a little skeptical? They're going, really?
Well, lots of times they're in shock, right?
Really?
They're in shock when they see, right, the way it's going to look like in advance. So that's appointment number 2. Appointment number 3, we bring them in and we do the treatment. So we place the implants, we deliver the teeth. And then appointment number 4 is about 4 months later, once the bone fuses to the implant, we make them a new set of teeth. Okay? And these new set of teeth are made out of zirconia, which is a very strong, durable material that looks very, very aesthetic.
Like the gums look real,
The gums
teeth look real.
And that's the other thing, Randy, since I have my in-house lab, I have an artist, literally an artist in my practice, that makes the teeth look so natural, makes the gums look so natural that you can be sitting this close to them and you don't even know the difference, right?
So even a dentist may not be able to tell if these teeth are...
All the time.
Really?
All the time.
Okay.
That's what we're shooting for. We're looking for something that looks very natural, that blends in with their face and their other teeth if they have other teeth.
Okay, now let's talk about something we never talk about on the TV show.
Uh-oh.
And that is things go wrong.
Oh, yeah.
That means some implants fail, especially inexperienced people.
Yeah.
Let's talk more about, so what are some of the things that can go wrong in the hands of an inexperienced dentist?
Oh, man, there's a long
Like,
list,
because you
Randy.
fix a lot of these.
Yeah,
Like, what's a percentage of people you see where you're fixing other people's work?
Yeah, that's a great question. In my practice right now, I have about 30% of my patients that are revision cases. What is a revision case? That means that these patients have gone to another dentist, and these dentists have treated them the best that they could, but years later, they're still having problems. And so what's unfortunate about that is that the patients have lost a lot of faith. They've lost a lot of hope because they put their trust in a dentist. And that dentist maybe tried their best, right? They tried their best, but maybe didn't have the experience, the technology, or the team to be able to support
And what are
them.
the biggest mistakes that new dentists make that are in implant dentistry?
They try to do too much too soon. What do I mean by that? You can go to a weekend course and learn how to place implants. So I was taught by one of the best dentists in the world, who was also an educator, and he taught me to start simple, right? Maybe place an implant in the back that has a ton of bone. What some of these dentists do is they don't start simple, and they start jumping ahead and doing these full arches of teeth where there's so much more involved. It's not the same placing one implant as it is placing a full arch of implants. So I think that's
So
one
kind of master the singles first,
master the
then
single.
move into the full arch stuff.
Yes, there's actually some steps in between, right? You don't want to
Okay.
go that quickly. I think that's the mistake.
So are there guys that go to your course that, I mean, they have all the right intentions, good heart, they want to do the best for the patients, and they think, I got this after 3 days with Dr. Art Mirelez.
Yeah, I think there is.
And they may
but-
go in over their heads.
Yeah, but I think what's really unique about our courses is that we really support and get an understanding for them after they leave our course. So it's
Okay.
not like they just leave and they're done.
Okay.
Right? And so I think that's really important, is the mentorship that we provide, the support and the training that we provide after the course. But to answer your question, yes, I think there's a lot of that going on, where these doctors will go to a weekend course and then jump into something that is a little bit above their head.
Well, look, and you told me this in the green room. I mean, it's easy for you to say, well, just ask them how many implants they've done. But it's like, really? A patient asking a doctor that? Because you don't want to get on the wrong side of the doctor. It's like, how dare you asking me my experience? But is that what you should ask?
You know what?
Like, how
Listen,
many implants have you done? Or how many full arches have you done?
I personally, because of my level of experience, would never take offense if you came to me and you said, by the way, how many implants have you done? Right? I say over 6,000. By the way, what is your success rate? Oh, about 97% successful. By the way, how many of these arches have you done? Oh, we're pushing 2,000. Right? I have no problem with that because I can justify it with confidence.
Okay.
So I personally wouldn't have a problem asking somebody that's asking me for their trust and asking me for my money, right, to do something like this, right? If you're at the right place, you should know it. And that doctor should be able to exude that to you.
What didn't you know the first 300, 500 that you did
That's a
that you
great
know
question.
now?
Yeah, I will
What
say
didn't
that
you get?
I would tell you that patients' care has to be very customized and personalized. So taking the time to get to know their medical history and understanding that if there's medical conditions that can cause problems for these implants, letting the patient know in advance.
Okay.
Identifying if they have a history of gum disease and letting them know that there's still a risk. Because here's the dirty secret. The dirty secret is that many dentists think, or I shouldn't say they think, they may come across as implants are the best thing on earth.
Okay.
Okay? That's not totally true. I love placing implants. I love removing teeth, but it's not always the best thing. So what do I mean by that? There's nothing better, Randy, than God-given teeth. If I can have a patient keep their teeth for 5, 6, 7 years, I'm always going to lean that direction versus just ripping them out. And unfortunately, a lot of patients are at the mercy of the dentist.
Is this true? There are centers that are built based on that concept of we only do one thing, we don't save teeth, we remove teeth and give them new teeth supported by implants. Is that an exaggeration, or are there certain places that they only do one thing?
I'm going to say this. I'm not here to bash other centers,
Yeah.
but I will tell you what is best in what we do.
Okay.
Is that we individualize our care. We customize our care. And we don't provide just one solution,
Okay.
right? if I see that you have more good teeth than bad teeth, I'm going to encourage you to keep them. You know, this reminds me, Randy, just 2 weeks ago, I had a patient who came in with every intention to have me remove all of her upper teeth and all of her lower teeth because she was fed up.
Okay.
She was tired of going in this vicious cycle with the dentist of fixing, breaking down, fixing, breaking down, right? It's a vicious cycle. And so I'm looking at her x-rays and I'm looking in her mouth, and yeah, she had some problems, okay? But she was literally a deep cleaning, 3 implants, some fillings, and some veneers away from saving all her teeth. And it was at a fraction of the cost than taking all her teeth out. Now, I knew that I was going to be at risk for losing this patient because she was so adamant about taking all her teeth out. But at the end of the day, I have to be able to put my head down on my pillow and sleep peacefully. And I told her that. I said, listen, if you were my sister, if you were my mom, if you were me, I would never take all your teeth out. And you know what she ended up doing?
What?
She ended up giving me a hug before she left, and she said, thank you for taking the time to explain this. I believe you, I trust you, and I'm so glad I came here versus somewhere else where they probably just would have done what I had wanted them to do.
See, with all this implant, I'm asking your thoughts on this, but with all of this millions and millions of dollars of implant advertising, so there are patients that are coming in and they just say, I already know what I need. Remove all my teeth.
All the time, Randy.
Really?
All the time. And the majority of the time, honestly, they are right. Like, that's the best thing to do.
Okay.
But I would say there's a good percentage of them where it's not. It's not the right thing to do, right? And so what I'll tell them is that you're going to end up paying a lot more in the long run, not just financially, but also regret if we do that. And so I'm sorry, but this may not be the right place for you.
Now, tell me this. Look, you know, in medicine, with if somebody with the money, they have a good PPO, they have a heart condition, maybe they go to Cleveland Clinic, or if they have cancer, they go to certain teaching hospitals. They'll travel across the country to get the best care. Do you think implant dentistry, because the goal is to get this one and you're done, do you think that's the way it should be? That means people shouldn't worry if they have to travel a little bit to see the right implant dentist?
100%. 100%. I have patients come to see me from all over the country. Here's a funny story. I'm teaching a dentist at one of my courses, and he's very young in his journey to doing implant dentistry. But guess where he practices?
Where?
Beverly Hills, baby.
Okay.
Right? And he is a long way from getting to where I think he needs to be. But his fees are significantly higher than mine. His office is in the middle of 90210, right? And because of where he's at and the perception of that he exudes, right? He showed me this magazine. He was in this nice 3-piece suit, and when I'm talking to him, he's just in shorts and a cap,
Yeah.
But it was really surprising to me that he was able to justify his fees just based off of his location. So sometimes location isn't always the answer. And so I think, what we have found is that people don't even know where Clovis, California is half the time. But once they see, Fresno? It's by Fresno. But by the time they go to our website, they see the before afters, they meet my team, they see and they realize, hey, this is worth traveling. We have a hotel right across the street.
I mean, if you have to go 10, 20 visits to a regular place that's 2 miles from your practice or from your home, then I guess flying over and getting it done right in 2 days or 3 days, 3 visits, is probably better.
Way better. Way better. We have patients that travel across the border because the fee is a quarter of a third of what we're charging. But then they come back to us and they say, yeah, by the time I went over there and I had emergencies and my teeth broke and, I had to go back 15, 20 times, Was I really saving money? Think about how much time they took off of work to go 15
I'm
times.
surprised people do that.
Well, once you start, you have to finish.
Is it really a big part of this that people are going out of the state, going to Mexico or going to Cayman or wherever?
It happens a lot.
Really?
And for this particular procedure of getting teeth, a full set of teeth that are permanently resting on implants, going to another country or another state
To save money.
just to save money, it's probably the one thing I would tell patients, beware.
Now, you know, knowing what you know, does that sound absolutely ridiculous or even asinine to go to Mexico to get this done?
I would never do that.
Okay.
I would never do that.
You want to be polite about this. Now, I was telling you before we started, I have a good friend who's a periodontist, and I have some oral surgeon friends. And I was telling him, I said, based on what I've learned, I don't know if I'd want my grandmother or mother to go to you, because you do the surgery and then you got to send them to another general dentist that kind of puts the teeth on top, and then they're going to an outside lab. I go, don't you think it makes sense to go somewhere that's been trained in both? And it's like he didn't have much of a response to that, but that's kind of going on, right?
It is. It is. Imagine taking your car to go get repaired, and the dealer says you need to go over there to get your oil changed. And then after your oil's changed, you need to go over there to change the battery. And then you got to go over here, right, to get the lights checked. To me, it's just like nobody wants to do that. How do I know that this happens? I have patients come into me every other week that say, I'm coming here because I understand you do everything at this one location, and you're doing it, right? You are responsible for the entire treatment, not multiple dentists.
What frustrates you the most? Look, you know you were going to be on this podcast with new guys or implant dentistry that's exploding. Everybody's calling themselves, I'm an implant dentist.
Yeah.
Right? What bugs you the most?
That's a good question.
Or maybe it doesn't bug you, but frustrates you, or you talk to other dentists about.
Yeah, I think it's frustrating when it's a one solution for every patient that walks through the door, right? They have one great tool and they're providing that service for everybody, or they're saying, I can't help you. Let's think about this, right? How many of, Randy, if I told you it's $50,000 to fix your mouth right now,
Yeah.
and that was the only option I offered you, and you didn't have that money, how would you leave my office?
Disappointed.
Very disappointed, like you got your hopes up.
Oh, bummed out. Yeah.
Bummed out, right? And so for us, that's not what we do in my practice,
Okay.
right? So we're going to say, this is the best. And you may say, for whatever reason, hey, you know what, I'm not interested. I'll tell you what the next best option is. You may say, oh, that's not. And so here's the point. I'm going to provide great care for you regardless of what option you choose, because what's going to happen is that one day you're going to be ready, and I'm going to be here to serve you. I had a patient in my practice for 22 years, Randy.
Okay.
22 years, and it took him 22 years to get a permanent set of teeth on the top arch and a permanent set of teeth on the lower arch. But in the meantime, we just took care of him. He had an emergency, I was there for him. He needed a
Do you
cleaning,
think he lost
I was there
out
for me.
on a lot of good years?
He did. He
Like
actually
20 good years?
He actually said that. But in his defense, he didn't have the means to do it.
So he saved up.
He saved up.
Do they save up to do this? Like, you've been on
Oh.
TV for a long time,
Yeah.
8, 9 years or whatever.
Yes.
Do you have people that say, man, I've been watching you for.
You know what? And that's one of the reasons I love the Wellness Hour, is that I have patients who said, I've been watching you for 5 years, and I knew that you were the one that was going to take care of me. But after I investigated, I knew I didn't have the money to do it. But I saved. I've had patients whose children have pitched in. I've had patients who have worked overtime to help make it work. I've had patients that, honestly, if my heart goes out to them, I don't like to publicize this, but we offer scholarships. What is a
Okay.
scholarship? I teach dentists how to do these procedures, right? And so as a result, if I see that this is a good case to teach other dentists, I will extend a scholarship to you. And that's been really helpful for some patients. Now, we only do these cases, 1 or 2 times a month, but it really helps people get to that, where they want to be.
That's very nice. So experience matters. The technology that the doctor's using matters. Do you, when you're at the, there's a difference between, I had a plastic surgeon tell me this. He goes, there's a difference between a pretty good high school athlete, quarterback at a high school, and Tom Brady, or a pretty good high school basketball player making, doing 25 points a game, and then there's Michael Jordan.
Sure.
Do you think that's like that in dentistry, like in all fields? And do you feel like, there's a difference between an Olympic athlete and a regular athlete?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're like an Olympic athlete when it comes to implant dentistry?
I mean, I
know it's a humble thing to say,
Yeah.
but is there that kind of a difference?
I would just say that I've been blessed with spiritual gifts, and this is my calling. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy performing these procedures, and as a result of just doing them over and over and over, I've developed a skill set that is, in my humble opinion, far above average, and it's allowed me to teach dentists how to get to that level. A lot of it has to do with repetition. I mean, I do more implants in a month than most dentists do in their entire career. And so as a result, I know that when we treat a patient, they're getting the best of the best.
Is that right?
No doubt about it.
So the InstaRisa protocol, I said at the beginning of the show, you're not only an educator, but you're an innovator. Could you, and we're at the end here, but gloss over some of the innovations that you've come up with?
Well, the reason that we created this innovation was ultimately to better serve our patients. I was one of those dentists in the past that it was taking 10, 15, 20 appointments to get to the finish line, right? And so imagine that, having to leave your work, miss out on that pay just to get your final set of teeth after 20, 30 visits.
Okay.
I was and so the innovation was born out of frustration, to be honest with you. And so me, along with my co-founder and partner, Fernando Palenco, who's an absolutely amazing technician, designed this method to get to the finish line in as little as 4 or 5 appointments. So we're taking a procedure that typically takes 20 visits down to 4 or 5 very predictably. So that's what really stimulated
it. So this InstaRisa protocol is a combination of systems and technology to get you to those final full arch of teeth that don't come out,
Yes.
permanent teeth, very quickly.
Yeah, because a lot of those extra visits are because, let's say I'm treating you, Randy. I would bring you in and I would try in these teeth, and you would look in the mirror and you'd be like, I don't like these. I want them a little bit bigger, or I want them a little bit longer. So then I would go and make another set of teeth, and I would bring you back.
Now, sending out to a lab.
I would send it out to the lab, which would take 2 weeks. They would send me back a set of teeth, and I'd put it in your mouth, and you'd be like, oh, we're getting closer, but you know what?
But does that happen? Are people that picky?
It happens. It's not only that
Like
the
across
patients,
the country, when you talk to your doctors that go through your training?
it's 2 things, right?
Okay.
Because there's 2 things that this innovation helps. It's the look, so the patient gets to see their smile with their face before we start treatment. So they know what they're going to look like. The second part is their bite. So if our top teeth and our lower teeth don't come together evenly, it feels like a boulder's between our teeth. Think of it this way.
Doesn't feel good in the mouth.
It doesn't feel good. If you had a grain of sand between, well, think about it. You had a grain of sand between your fingers, you would never feel it. You have a grain of sand between your teeth. What does it feel like, Randy?
That's right, like a rock.
It feels like a huge rock. So our innovation helps design the smile and helps get the bite right. And that's what takes extra appointments over and over again, where it takes 20, 15, 30 times to get to the finish line. We get that all fixed on the front end before we start treatment, and we nail it. So there's no wonder that we don't have to be the most expensive, practice in town, because we're getting there a lot quicker.
Well, much faster.
Much faster.
And so if you're going to choose an implant dentist, you want to know, as a recap here, you want to know how many they've done, what technology they have in the practice, how long it takes to get to that finish line, as you call it, the final teeth.
And I think you want to also, as soon as you call, you want to feel welcomed and you want to feel comforted. And you want to feel like you're in an environment that people sincerely care about you and you're not just a transaction, right? Because unfortunately, I think that's where dentistry is headed.
Okay.
Is that now it's all about cost And this is your body. This is your health. This is your confidence. This is your quality of life that we're talking about. Should you put a price tag on that? Like, you know, you really need to make sure you're going to the right person and getting the best treatment possible so that you can have so many more days ahead of you that are just filled with joy.
Now, excellent, by the way. I had a guy here on my show, and I asked him with implant dentistry, I said, what's your warranty? Like, do you back up your stuff? He goes, well, we do a 6-month warranty, and some guys just don't offer anything. May I ask, what's yours?
I will tell this. I would tell you this, Randy. When I sit down and meet my patients, it's just like anything else. If you were to go out and buy a Cadillac, if you were to go out and buy a Toyota, what is the most important thing to make sure that that car lasts as long as possible?
Maintenance?
Maintenance.
Okay, okay.
So I tell my patients, as long as you're coming in for maintenance, every 6 months, I'm going to take care of you.
So it's a lifelong warranty in a way.
In a way, it's a lifelong
as long
warranty.
as they're not eating ice cubes or got in a car accident,
right,
broke their teeth.
Right, or as long as they don't take up, smoking a pack a day every day, or take up drinking.
You're going to stand behind that.
We're going to stand behind it. We take care of our patients.
Why are you able to do that? Is it because of the in-house lab? It doesn't cost you a ton of money to fix it and just get it done?
I think it's a lot of things. That's one, right? My costs are a lot less. Also, I want to create raving fans. I want you to go out and tell somebody, hey, you know what? I had the best treatment possible. Maybe there was a little hiccup, but guess what? Dr. Mirelez and his team took care of me, and they didn't charge me an extra dime. And what that's going to do is going to allow us to do more of what we enjoy doing.
All right. So no more dentures is the future.
No more dentures.
InstaRisa. And I should mention, I'm not trying to side with you, but look, I don't think you could be an implant dentist and not know who Dr. Art Mirelez is. They all know who you are.
Well,
I even had a guy the other day go, what's he like? That's what he said. What's he like? I go, man, where do I begin? I go, one thing's for sure, he cares, right? Yeah. That's what it seems like. It's like you're serious about it. I go, it's not about the money for him.
Yeah.
Is that a fair characterization?
You know what? I'm blessed to be able to do what I do. And if all I do is bring joy to God to help more people, the rest is just some extra cherries on top.
All right. Well,
all right, buddy.
Good stuff. Good
stuff.
You. So when if I ever lose my teeth, I should go to you.
Clovis, California, baby. Come see us. We'll take good care of you.